Hare Krishna everyone, we're continuing to read The Science of Self-Realization, the book by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. Chapter 6, Finding Spiritual Solutions to Material Problems, and this section is entitled The Tiny World of Modern Science. Continuing. Dr. Singh. Scientists are worried about energy sources, and now they are working to utilize solar energy for cooking, lighting, and various other purposes. They are hoping that when they exhaust all other energy sources, they will be able to use solar energy. Srila Prabhupada. This is not a very new theory. Everyone knows that because the roots of trees store the sun's energy, it is possible to get fire from a tree. These scientists are tiny creatures, but they are very proud. We don't give them credit because they are simply stating what everyone knows. As soon as you cut a tree, you cannot get fire from it. It has to be dried in the sun. When the energy is gathered from the sun, the tree can be utilized for fire. Actually, everything is maintained by the sun's energy. But the scientists don't know where the sun's energy comes from. In the Bhagavad Gita 15.12, Krishna says, Yad aditya gatam tejo jagad bhasayate kilam yad chandramasi yad chagnau tat tejo vidhi mamakam. Quote, the splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me, and the splendor of the moon and the splendor of fire also comes from me. Unquote. Again, Krishna says, Jyotisham Ravir Amshuman. Of lights I am the radiant sun. Bhagavad Gita 10.21. Also in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna tells Krishna, Shashi Surya Netram. The sun and moon are among your great, unlimited eyes. This knowledge is contained in the Bhagavad Gita, but scientists cannot attain this knowledge by their speculation. Can they? Dr. Singh. It is not possible. Srila Prabhupada. And what is their knowledge? The scriptures say that even if you counted all the grains of sand on earth, you still would not be able to understand God. All this material counting does not mean that you have the capacity to understand the unlimited, but it is even beyond their capacity to count all the material things. Why are the scientists so proud of their energy and capacities? They do not even know of the material things, and what to speak of the spiritual. As far as scientists and other living entities are concerned, their knowledge is limited. But this is not so for Krishna. If we receive knowledge from Krishna, that knowledge is perfect. In the scriptures, we receive information that there are 900,000 species of life existing within the ocean. The information given in the scriptures is exact because it comes from Krishna. And as Krishna himself says, quote, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. Unquote. Bhagavad Gita 7.26. Dr. Singh. We have to take knowledge from the Supreme Knower. Srila Prabhupada. for perfect knowledge, we have to approach a superior person, a guru. One may try to learn a subject by reading books at home, but he can learn much better by going to college and approaching a professor. In the same way, we have to approach a guru. Of course, if we encounter a false guru, our knowledge is false. But if our guru is perfect, our knowledge is perfect. We accept Krishna as our guru. If he is perfect in knowledge, our knowledge is also perfect. As far as we are concerned, we do not have to be perfect in ourselves. But if we receive knowledge from the perfect, our knowledge is perfect. We cannot say that we understand that there are 900,000 species of life in the ocean because we have studied the entire ocean. Rather, we say that we take this information from scriptures and therefore it is perfect. This is the Vedic process. Scientists may carry out much research work, but however great a scientist may be, his senses are imperfect. Therefore, he cannot have perfect knowledge. What is the value of our eyes? We cannot see without sunlight, nor can we see small things without a microscope. Our eyes are imperfect, and the instruments our eyes have discovered are also imperfect. How then is it possible to get perfect knowledge? Because the living entity is limited, his knowledge is limited. A child may know that 2 + 2 = 4, but when he speaks of higher mathematics, we do not take him seriously. The senses through which a scientist acquires knowledge are limited and imperfect. Limited and imperfect. Therefore, his knowledge is limited and imperfect. In his ignorance, he may claim to know everything, but that is simply nonsense. A blind man may lead another blind man, but what does it avail them when they both fall into a ditch? The laws of nature bind us hand and foot, yet we think we are free to speculate. This is illusion. Although conditioned by so many of material nature's laws, the rascals think they are free. Yet if there is a cloud, they cannot see the sun. What power have we to see? Only when nature's laws give us some facility are we able to see. Indeed, we can only experiment under certain conditions, and if the conditions are not favorable, our experiments fail. Why then are we so proud of experimental knowledge? Why experiment? Things are already there. The sun's energy is there, given by God for us to use. What else is there to know? So many apples fall from trees. What further need is there to explain the law of gravity? Actually, the scientists are lacking in common sense. They're simply concerned with scientific explanations. They say the law of gravity works only under certain conditions. But who has made these conditions? When Krishna appeared as Lord Ramachandra, he threw stones on the water and the stones floated. The law of gravity did not work in that case. Therefore, the law of gravity works only under the direction of the Supreme Lord. The law in itself is not final. A king may give a law, but he can change that law immediately. The ultimate lawgiver is Krishna, and the law will only work by his will. Scientists try to explain God's will in so many ways, but because they are conditioned by Maya, illusion, they can only talk like a person haunted by ghosts. Tell me, what is the scientific explanation that accounts for all the varieties of trees? Karandhara Dasa. They say that nature mutates and makes these varieties. Srila Prabhupada. Then it must be nature's will. And what is that will? Does the land have any will? Karandhara Das. Well, they are very vague on that point. Srila Prabhupada. That means that they do not have perfect knowledge. They do not know that behind nature is the will of Krishna. Dr. Singh. They explain that the chemical composition of these different plants is different. Srila Prabhupada. That's all right, but who made these chemical compositions? As soon as you say chemical composition, you immediately require God. We're going to stop here for today and continue tomorrow. Jai. Yeah, I mean, just look at the cosmos. The planets are floating in space. They don't fall down. Although there was account how one time Earth fell down into the ocean of Garbhadhaka and Varahadev picked up the Earth and lifted it from the ocean. The planet Earth. That's a wonderful pastime. It's described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes, so thank you so much for tuning in today. The link to this book is in the description. Check out our website, shravanamdiaries.com, and we shall see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.